tell me more about you, your family, and a little bit more about your life.
Let's see. Well, we got married in 1990, and Jim was pitching for the Dodgers, so it was quite exciting. And Jim had four small children when we met, and his oldest son, who was two and a half at the time, was having lots of struggles and hadn't yet been diagnosed, but he is also autistic. So he came to live with us for almost the first 8 years of our marriage and got lots of intervention and was in the regional center system. And then that was 1991-ish. And then 93, Danny was born, our son. And then Danny was diagnosed in 95. So for a while we had both, but then CJ went back to live with his mom. But we had, up 6 kids together we have. So it's been a busy life.
That is
Great.
a busy house,
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. And
And
so
I was gone most of the time.
you were gone pitching. So
So we
Kathy was,
during the season, so 6 months out of the year, or seven, eight really was spring training. We just I was traveling and watching Cathy navigate through CJ moving in with us. He moved in with us after the first year we were married. I was still playing, and just Cathy seeing that there was something going on. CJ's mom and I weren't aware of. We had just seen a daughter who was perfectly developing, and then all of a sudden we had the son that we hear that boys develop slower and really had no reference point. And Cathy came in and really saw that there was a need for intervention. And Cathy is incredible with how she's always been, but she started us on the road and getting us, meeting up with neurological pediatricians and getting CJ diagnosed and then getting services for him. So this
yeah.
is amazing for me to just sit back and watch Cathy navigate through this.
And what were those early years like for both children and early intervention services? And how was that experience for your family?
Well, it was different with both because it was so unknown with CJ. So one of my first phone calls was to an advocate that I knew from a former job, actually, Lori Waldinger, who's been in the industry. You made a little smile. I don't know if you know Lori, but she said, you've got to contact regional center. And, I didn't want to take advantage of something that we might be able to pay for through insurance, or, we have the means to get whatever, we were willing to do whatever we could to help. So I was a little bit reluctant, and she kept pushing and pushing, like, it's life-changing. This is for his whole life. And you're entitled to it. And she explained the Lanterman Act, so I went ahead and began the journey with him through regional center services. They're very different on the spectrum. He's a lot more impacted, and he was nonverbal, body trained. I mean, it was really rough. And then when Danny got diagnosed, we caught it so early, but with Danny, it was very emotional. But he was only 16 months when we started OT and speech, and because he was super delayed. So, but something I do want to share, which I don't know if other parents can relate to this, but of course there's a grieving process when your child is diagnosed, and you have this set of expectations, and everything gets adjusted, and hopefully you come out in radical acceptance like I do, and embrace the differences, and we wouldn't change anything, and we love our life, but there's a process for sure. And but I think it was even harder for me when Danny turned 18. And I'll tell you that the power of denial in parents, I don't know, it's pretty remarkable I think I'm so evolved, but I'm just a human and a mom. And I remember seeing like groups of disabled adults at the mall or something. And I would say to that's not going to be, my son's not going to be that. Well, my son is that. But it took me a while. Like it really sunk in. I think when they're children, there's so much hope that, anything can happen. And then in adulthood, it is what it is. It's just, this is the life, and let's make it the best we can make it. And I don't know, I can't believe like what it would have been like a generation ago, in my own lifetime, right? Born in the early 1960s. There was no inclusion. There was only institutional living for people like my son. And it was the norm. And I think, I mean, I speak about this. I'm such an advocate for self-determination and all the progressive, amazing programs, the way that we value people with, I mean, it's a statement, like we care. That's what our government, our society, our country, what I have always clung to in such a beautiful way of look at the progress we've made of not just including, but more accepting and kind. And we want your son, we want your child to be in our community and be a part and have the supports he needs to thrive and work and live and volunteer and be a part of our community because of the supports that he is afforded. That's what he is able to do. And
Yeah.
the thought that that is threatened, and I mean, I just feel like crying. I just can't believe it. I don't know. He's so dependent on these supports and services to live such a fulfilling life. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm just terrified. That's just the truth.
There's a lot of people feeling the same way right now. You got amazing advice from your friend to say, this is not just about your young child, this is a lifetime, is the advice you got. So let's fast forward. You had success in early intervention, and now your son is an adult, and you guys are aging as well as all of us do. And so where are we at now with your family and your son? What's happening now?
Well, Danny is in the self-determination program through the regional center. And he gets to choose and co-employ with a financial manager. He works with a job coach. So the job coach is paid for to accompany him and support him as needed at Bolero, local bowling alley in Pasadena. And he loves his job. He works in the arcade, kind of his dream job.
Right.
And he has in-home supports that both through IHSS, which is a program that's also threatened, a generic resource that's available to Danny to keep him safe because doesn't have the ability to discern dangerous influences, people, whatever. He volunteers. And again, he has someone with him all the time, and he needs that. And he's got a dating coach. He's got, I mean, it's just an array of services from a nutritional coach, fitness trainer. I mean, he's living a great life, and he's contributing to the community and to the world. He makes the world brighter. He's just a beautiful person.
Hello everybody, my name is Danny Gott, and I have a message for all of you. If you see someone with autism, why don't just go over and say hi? If they're acting differently, they're no different than anyone else. They just have troubles. We all have troubles, don't we? All you gotta do is just go up to someone who is acting differently and say hi. They'll be grateful for it.
One thing that can get lost in all of this is that the regional center and all the programs that are out there that allow our families to help our kids thrive and to have the support for them out in the community. It's amazing what that has happened out in the community. I'm out in baseball right now, and I'm coaching kids that are coming out of high school and college. This is their early professional life. And these guys are all coming from all over the world. And every one of them is so excited to meet Danny and to not be afraid of a disability, to not feel like there is any separation between them. And I think it's because of these programs that allow our kids to be supported in the community, that then our kids are in school, they're walking around the hallways just like everybody else, they're in the market, they're all over, which is awesome. And so I see my kids here, my players, they can't wait to see Danny. Danny has influenced them, and he's only known them for a week when we came down to Southern California. Danny was a bat boy for us in all of the different, so many different places. But when we were down in the Dominican, Danny came down for a short period of time and spent some time down there and learned Spanish. And, he feels like he's fluent. He can say maybe 5 different things and a couple of things, and knows where the the bathroom is and what food he wants to eat. But the way that he is included in all of these typical kind of environments are because of the regional center, are because of the programs that are out there that are allowing our kids to understand, maybe boundaries in a typical situation, or just the confidence to be able to walk into a room of typical or non-typical people and participate. Yeah. It's an incredible thing. It really is.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch this generation right now, which some people are calling the first inclusive generation, right? It's not different. It's just the norm. It's because of the programs, society, the policies that created this inclusivity, that now there's no them and us. It's just, this is society, this is us. And it sounds like early intervention had great success. Fast forward, the supports that you received from the regional center and IHSS and the generic supports for Danny, it seems like they're allowing him to be included in society, have a fulfilling life, have a job, an arcade, his dream job, you said. All that is amazing to hear. And as a result of progress we've made, you mentioned the self-determination program, some funding investments that at the state level we've been able to make, at the federal level, the prioritization of Medicaid services. And as we talked about at the beginning, a lot of that is being threatened right now at the federal level with funding for Medicaid funded services, which funds regional center and IHSS services. And then at the state level as well, with proposals that came out in the governor's budget to cap IHSS, Medi-Cal asset limits, and possible additional cuts to regional center services. What is your biggest concern right now about his future if all of these cuts do go through?
Who's going to care for him?
Yeah.
Are we really going to go backwards? Is that we're going to go back to the shameful dark ages of hiding our kids? It's shameful. I just can't believe this is happening, that these are the most vulnerable people in our society that through no fault of their own cannot survive without help. And, we are tax-paying citizens, that this is happening right now is unconscionable. I just can't, where are our politicians? Where's the support? What's happening? How can you leave us in the lurch like this? What's going to happen? It's terrifying if we undo and he doesn't have the supports he needs. He can't thrive. And
Yeah.
We're scared.
As we continue to tell our story too, I can't think about, I'm frightened to think about the families that are just getting on board with this, where their child is, just at the beginning of this and maybe not even understanding what's available to them, what is available now, to then possibly not having anything available to these families that are just on the beginning of their path.
Yeah. Yeah, great point. It's so frightening to consider that that opportunity would never even be there for individuals and families as they start out on this journey. Can we talk specifically about IHSS? I know you mentioned that, Cathy, that IHSS is a big part of the success and of your what the family relies on. And there is a proposal from the governor now to cap the number of hours for workers at 50 per week, but we know that that would mean for a lot of individuals who are authorized for hours beyond 50 a week because of they have high support needs, that would ultimately just mean a cut to their hours, because you can't just go find another worker for the exact amount of hours and who you feel comfortable with, et cetera. Can you just talk a little bit more about, tell me more about what IHSS means to you and the family?
Well, I mean, IHSS with that funding piece, which I believe like we'll use that more for overnight hours. I mean, the intent of IHSS is, to keep someone at home, in their home, not in a group home or,
Nursing facility or
something, of that nature. And it's not like it's costing any more for, it's just enabling somebody to have the choice to support somebody in their own home so that they can live an more independent life. And Danny just isn't safe, so many people are so dependent on, caregivers that need to be there around the clock. And that's what IHSS means for us, is that Danny has somebody supporting him in the home with his anything from grooming and shaving to getting dressed appropriately to, just all those things to keep him healthy and safe, and lock the doors and all that. He just wouldn't be able to do that. So without somebody being there, I mean, I don't know what it means. It's so frightening to think, because he needs that. He can't survive without that. So do we just keep our special needs children at home with us until we can't care for anymore? And then what happens? And, we have a family, but there's so many people that don't have family supports. What are they going to do? Who's going to take care of these people?
Yeah.
It's shocking to me.
Yeah. And I know beyond your own family, the two of you have also been involved in advocacy efforts and wider advocacy efforts amongst the community. And what are you hearing from others in your community, and what are you hearing out there?
So a couple things. In the mid-90s, I opened a center that is a proud vendor of the San Gabriel Pomona Regional Center, called Education Spectrum, and we serve individuals, adults and children, providing social skills classes. And it's so lovely. I mean, when you think about what is so important in your life, and it's connectivity and social relationships and friendships, and it comes so naturally to so many people. And often people on the spectrum struggle so much in this area that they need a lot of support to really understand what it all means, and breaking down social relationships and doing activities together. And that's primarily what the center does. And clients are panicked like we are. What happens if these are you, they keep, are you still going to be here? Is everything going to be okay? And then I have a staff and a team to take care of. And if we're going to get cut, like, that's terrifying to all of us and the community at large. And then the other component that I'm kind of just pretty entrenched in is I host a parent support group for the self-determination program. Multi-languages are translated, and it's all for parents and families and individuals who are interested or in the self-determination program. And that just comes up every month at the meeting, especially of late, is just, is the self-determination program going to be cut? Should we go into it? Is it going to be there? Like, what's going to happen? And I know that there are some proposed cuts, and it is the most really gorgeous way to deliver services, not for everybody, but if it's the right fit for a family, it's just so customized and so important, and to really meet the unique needs of each individual. And the fact that it's threatened, people are, yes, we're hearing it. It's the biggest topic of conversation in this community, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely.
Well, if you could do anything if you had the magic wand and if you had the opportunity in front of members of Congress or members of our state legislature and the governor, what would you want them to know? What would you want them to hear?
We need you. We depend on this. Our child's life depends on this. Why don't you come here and spend a day with him and see what it's like? Well, let me introduce you to him. Let's sit down together. Like, what are you thinking? Like, I just, why come after this population? Why cut something that is so essential to a person's livelihood? There just seems to be other ways that we can come together as a community and solve problems and be responsible stewards of public funding. And it's already a pretty underfunded system to begin with. We're clawing and scratching for everything. Nobody's getting rich here, believe me. These are minimum wage jobs and people. This is not, I don't know. Talk to us. We're here. We can show you how your tax dollars, our tax dollars, are being used. And I guarantee you're going to have a really heartfelt, good feeling that you're doing the right thing. Do the right thing, period. I just don't see it any other way.
Yeah, these dollars spent are doing the right thing. I can't agree with you anymore.
I just keep on coming back to the fact that it's not just the families that are getting the regional center funding, and it's affecting their families' lives and bringing hope and fulfillment and to such a tough journey. I think this affects so many other people, right? There's such a ripple effect that it's if it gets cut and these programs are not there, what about the people that are providing the programs? These wonderful people that have dedicated themselves and their lives to helping and their families. And then, it's the ripple effect is huge. It's not just this small little group of people that, so when a legislator is thinking about that, I hope that they see that this is a lot of their constituents. This will affect a lot of people that are not just in this little small group of the families of the disabled.
Yeah, great point. Absolutely. The workforce is so critically important and such a big part of that ecosystem of supports and services. And we're already short so many people in the workforce. We already need so many more, but to lose them would be catastrophic, even that much worse.
We've been around such wonderful people that are so dedicated to our kids and their way of life, from everything from occupational therapy to speech therapy to social groups to whatever it is, and seeing their excitement and how much that they love and have passion for what they do. And God, those people not having that opportunity of sharing their light that really bothers me.
Yeah, what an amazing way to put it. Taking away their opportunity to share their light. Yeah. Because that's what they're gifted to do. And any kind of cuts was just going to take that light away.
Yeah.
you guys are really active in a lot of different ways down in your community down south, and of course in that vendor program you're doing, Cathy. And you guys have, I mean, what amazing champions you guys are for the community as well, and being able to, I mean, even just bringing your son around with you as, you know, as a ball boy and everything else. It seems like it's been a great journey, and advocating for him and advocating for yourselves as parents as well. And
this is such an enormous part of our lives. And, you know, we recognize that so many people don't have a voice. And I feel, you know, it's just an obligation, but a pleasure at the same time to be that voice. I am incredibly, all of us are so grateful for the services and supports and the excellent people that work at the regional centers. And I mean, it's just remarkable. The people that we have met along the way, like Jim was saying earlier, it's just, this is our community, it's our tribe, these are our peeps.
it's a really difficult time right now for people to kind of even just navigate their own emotions, right, around it. And we don't want to be fear mongering, but at the same time, this is serious. This is, I mean, the biggest potential cut to Medicaid in the history of the program. So, and at the state level as well, we didn't quite think we were going to have a double whammy from the federal side and the state proposed budget cuts. And so, and I think we only a little bit are at the beginning of it as well. I think if the federal bill passes, then we're going to have a whole nother round of state budget proposed cuts. So it's a really concerning time, and to be able to connect with you guys as advocates, it's inspiring. So thanks for making time to chat with me, and getting to know you guys has been a real treat. Thank you.
Thank you for reaching out.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.